It is 11:09 and it's time for our World of Work feature right here on the Clement Manyathela Show. Today we're speaking about something really important in the run-up to Matrics receiving their results in the next few days. The anxiety must be up the roof, uncertainty, and many young people really thinking what next. And I want us to speak about learnerships, exploring learnerships as a pathway to work. My guest for that conversation joins me now in studio. That is Lindokuhle Ndlovu, who's the marketing officer at the Skills Development Corporation, and he is with us this morning. Lindokuhle, good morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Very happy to be here with you.
Lovely to have you in studio, especially at this time of the year. Hey, I think you guys at the Skills Development Corporation work quite a bit right now when young people are, deciding what to do with their lives, and traditional university or college is not always an option.
Right. There's more options such as learnerships, right? And that's where we come in. Ultimately, I would say in the country right now, the status of unemployment is very high. And we actually have been doing this work. We haven't started now. We started about 13 years ago. In fact, last year we celebrated our 13th year, helping young people, unemployed young people, gain work practical experience. And so through our learnerships, that obviously encompass the 70%, which is the practical, where you are actually simulating in a real workplace, right? And the 30%, which is the theory that you learn in the classroom. So we've had about 21,000 graduates from SDC.
And so they've graduated from your programs?
From our programs, yeah. So we have about 27 accredited training courses that are soft. We actually specialize in the soft skills, like courses like your cybersecurity, your marketing, all the way through to paralegal courses, qualifications.
And why should young people consider learnerships as an option? I don't think a lot of people know about learnerships.
Right.
At the end of Matric, you almost think I must go to varsity, and if I don't, I must go upgrade my marks or go to a college, go to school in the traditional sense.
Yes.
So why are learnerships even an option?
So learnerships, the difference between them and internships, for example, as well as diploma or degrees is, first of all, is the stipend. The stipend, for example, with us, it starts from a minimum of 4,020 Rand. And the stipend is really to assist you as a learner who is unemployed, right? Because that's one of the criteria, is that you have to be unemployed between the ages of 18 to 28 years old. It helps you with your everyday, like things like buying food at the campus when you are studying, as well as your transportation money. Because we know that we are eskolweni and going to actually study, you need to get into a taxi, right? And you need to arrive at the campus. And you need to have eaten, right? And so that's what the stipend is about. So all in all, it's a better option because it also keeps you from being unemployed too long. So you get the opportunity to wake up in the morning, go study, get the real theory, but also we find a real company where you can do your workplace experience. Where you actually take your logbook and you have a boss that can interview you literally for 12 months. And the chances of you being employed after that is way more.
I was actually thinking about that I think I've heard of people who have started as learners or were placed in a company through some learnership, and they actually ended up never even going to traditional university. They just kept on upskilling in the companies.
Certificates.
And certificates, you're right, as they kept on going, and now they are, full-fledged professionals in that space. Is that how it usually works with a learnership?
That's how it usually works. There is an option to be absorbed, actually, because later on, the companies that do pay for you to do your courses at the accredited training provider, because ultimately it is free, right? It is said that it is free, but there's actually companies that are doing their their tax incentives, and they work on their scorecards, and then they ask us to find the appropriate learners for that, right? And on which we do. And so I would say that it is one of the ways to break into the market. It's one of the ways to get into the to be employable, because employers nowadays aren't looking for somebody who's just like been applying for 3 years. No. They want somebody who's been in the working environment, somebody who knows the social cues, somebody who knows, how to dress up at work, somebody who knows how to do their time management and show up at the right time, So I would say that's exactly what employers are looking for. And they're reeling more towards people that have learnerships, that have done learnerships.
And I mean, in terms of the balance around skill, the soft skills that you've spoken about, but also particularly the practical work that you would be doing and the learning.
Yes.
How does that work? Is it more learning heavy, or is it work heavy? Because it sounded to me like these people have jobs. All the people that did learnerships, it sounded like they're actually going to work to have jobs.
Right. It is obviously because we have disabled learners, right? Learners that are living with disability. We've put in place systems like mentorship to ensure that young people who right, have the support in the campus. It's a community within the campus. I think that's one of the other advantages, is that it's a community within the campus. You have accountability partners. You have, that support from mentors as well. And also remember, when you are working in a workplace environment and you have experienced managers who guide you, it's much more better to learn. You learn much faster, and also they have an opportunity to influence you to become an even better employee.
Yeah.
And they get to know you. So by the time you're doing your 11th month, they know Lindokuhle. They know where Lindokuhle is from. They know how good Lindokuhle is. They might refer you to another company. And also you're exposed to industry standards, which is what counts in the interviews when you go and look for a job. If you're in the manufacturing field, we want to know whether you know about the latest regulations. And that's what this gives you an advantage of.
We're speaking to Lindokuhle Ndlovu, helping us make sense of learnerships as an option. And he is from the Skills Development Corporation, marketing officer there. And, this is the time of the year that many young people are looking for their options. They're weighing options. They're thinking, what's next for me? What can I do? And I think that this is an amazing option, right, that we should be considering. If you went or were awarded a learnership, if you were lucky enough to be on a learnership program, I want to hear from you. How did that help you? Did it develop you? Did it set you apart? Did it give you a bit of a head start? What was your experience with it? And what are your views on learnerships as opposed to traditional school, traditional university, especially when you don't have, the ability or the means to have or go to university or college in the traditional sense? The number to dial is 011-883-0702. Or send us a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. I'm going to go to the phone lines. I see Suren, you're in Centurion. Good morning. You want to speak about the absorption rate? Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. The practice of many employers is to take on these youngsters on learnerships, and get the triple BEE or broad-based Black economic empowerment points for them, but not to absorb them into full-time roles. And learners are moving from one learnership to the next. I'd love for your guests to comment on the absorption rate of those 21,000 odd learners that he spoke about. Is it meaningful to a point of actually making a dent in the unemployment rate for youth in the country?
All right, thank you so much for that question. Lindo, you want to take that?
Sure. I think across the industry, it is something to note that it is definitely one of the challenges that you have a lot of learners who they are called stipend hunters, who go from one learnership to the next. Unfortunately, the regulatory board hasn't as yet put in place a way, or call it a technological way, to say, okay, Lindo has been to 3 learnerships and now we are cancelling him, or saying, he can't do any more learnerships. But our position in the industry is to help those that need the help. And that's why we have a recruitment team that goes into the communities, the less privileged, where we ask you if you've ever been on a learnership. We do a bit of research to find out whether the letters that you're sending, the vetting, let me just say, is quite intensive to ensure that people that have a learnership already, we find new ones. Young people that are in Matric, that are in grade 11, because some of our learnerships even take people that are in grade 11. I hope I've answered you.
You have, and I do think that it's important to highlight those challenges. So these companies that kind of take on learners just to score triple BE points. So at this stage, nothing can happen to them really. They can just continue doing what they're doing without the regulations that we need in place.
I would say so, but when it comes to the partners that we work with, and I think that's why we've been entrusted by so many huge clients that we have, is that we go beyond that. We don't just do a tick box exercise. We actually find out more about the company, and we do a lot of research, and the vetting process, even for companies as well, to be assisted is quite intensive.
We're speaking about learnerships and your experiences with those. Of course, it's that time of the year. Many young people looking to, weighing their options and thinking, what am I going to do after Matric? And we see that learnerships are becoming an option. For matriculants who don't make it into university. So what is the process? Would they then come to you after the Matric results come out and apply with you guys? Do you guys take on learners all year round?
We take on learners all year round. In actual fact, yesterday we were back at work. A lot of work is still ahead for us. Please apply. What we normally advise is coming to our campus as well. We are situated on 24 Achter Road in Sandton. In fact, even at the rank, there is a line, a STC line, and that speaks of the impact we've had over the years, just with word of mouth.
And this line is about there's people that are waiting to get in.
People that are jumping on a taxi, and the taxi goes straight to our gate.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And this is from the different ranks, I suppose.
This is from, I would say, the MTN rank. Yeah, the MTN rank in the city.
That's amazing. I think you're doing great work. I do see some of your voice notes coming in, and we're going to be playing some of those in just a bit, but also we're taking your calls. What have your experiences with these learnerships been, and is it an option? Is it something that you would advise someone else to do if you have?
It is something that I'd advise.
Did you go through the learnership process as well?
I did not go through the learnership process, but there's quite a number of people within our structures in our group, at STC Group, who are actually now employed as well. So we don't just preach it to our clients to absorb some of the learners, but also we take it, we lead by example. So we've got a lot of managers that have done, that are now managing and are competent enough to run the departments that come from the development stage where they were learners before.
And how long do these learnership programs usually last? Is it a year, couple
12
years?
months. 12 months. That's all you need. I mean, we call it, how we normally advise the partners, the placement partners, is that you would be interviewing a learner for 12 months. You get to see Lindokuhle coming in, let's say 2 times a week in your company.
Yeah.
And you get to know the character. By the time learnership says a graduator,
yes,
you know exactly who the person is, whether you want them in your company or not, whether you can even refer them. And you can even come to the graduation. How amazing is that?
And what are the requirements for a person who is looking to pursue that route? You said grade 11?
Grade 11, grade 12. It's even better if you've passed your grade 12. But we advise from grade 11, somebody who's got the willingness to finish what they start. Somebody who's hungry for the opportunity. Because I'll tell you why. Most of the time, we have a lot of our clients who care about this exercise. Some of them even come through to find out how the learners are doing in the classrooms. So we're very transparent in our operations because we want to get the types of learners that would show up every day. But also when the client says, you know what, I want to actually employ you. Those are the stories we're looking for. Those are the testimonies we're looking for, which we have quite a lot. So we don't want somebody who's just going to start and finish and then not finish. Yeah. Because this is about, at the end of the day, being employable.
Let's take some of your calls. I do see your voice notes also coming through. Teresa, you're in Newlands and you've had an experience with learnerships. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm listening to you on the radio, and I was just busy applying for a learnership for my son, age 35. My last-born son, he is now luckily working, but he did learnership since he completed Matric. He is now age 23. He did learnerships since he completed Matric, and he never received any certification. What they actually did was they withdrew money from his stipend, and they said it's for unemployment. But he's unable to withdraw that unemployment. They even said there's bonuses. I would assume that he probably got the bonuses. My other son is age 35. He's unemployed. He's been searching for jobs all over the place. He tried a learnership. He never succeeded. Now, after the age of a certain age, like 30, 35 or 34, I'm not sure, you can't apply anymore. So what happens to him? In my case, I was working as a receptionist, debtors clerk. I'm multi-skilled. I'm unemployed now. I was retrenched twice. I was working for a media company in Parktown and in Sandton. I'm unable to get a job. I apply for jobs every morning at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when I get the notifications on my email. But I don't qualify for a learnership. I can't draw my UIF. So what happens to me? What happens to I'm age 55. What happens to me? What happens to my son age 35? Another thing with the learnership that I wanted to highlight is very racially based. It's the majority of it is for blacks, and colored and other races there's very few, if any. Very few, if any. And if they do come through, it's limited. It's very limited. If there's any company out there that can address this issue or that has opportunities for people over the age of 55, I'd like them to call in, because I'm going to definitely apply. I don't want to sit at home. I don't want to be unemployed. Yeah. I'm the head of the house. We have one source of income. The 370 rand is not enough.
Yeah.
It can't buy anything. You buy toiletries now, you have to wait for the sale. By the time the sale comes at ShopRite Checkers, the money's finished, because you have to buy bread, you have to buy sugar, you have to buy tea, and you're not having it white, you're having it black.
Sure.
So that 370 rand is really not, it is okay, you can buy soap and whatever, but it's barely enough to go to live on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? So really, I'd like someone to just address the issue of the age and the racially based learnerships, and the fact that some of the learnerships never issue the students with certificates. What happens to them?
Teresa, thank you so much. Thank you for your call. Lindo, I think you heard that she's raising some of her frustrations and challenges with the process.
All right. Sure. I'll start off by saying, for those that haven't received their certificates, I know in our house at SDC, we actually have a system where whoever hasn't received it in time is able to write through to us, and then we will follow up with each, depending on each person's case, right? But normally people that haven't received them, it's because maybe they've changed their cell numbers over time. It might happen that they've changed their addresses, and maybe the institution isn't able to get through to them, right? So I'd advise the caller to actually just circle back to the training provider and maybe go personally, physically to the training provider. I'm sure there could be a system that explains that, because once you do your learnership, the seaters are very quick, to ensure that you get your certificate. Moving on to the age, unfortunately, there is that 18 to 28. Yeah, to 28, the cap. But what we've tried to do at the Skills Development Corporation is to ensure that we partner up with the right partners, such as your SA Youth, which is a nice, wonderful platform where you can advertise the learnerships. We advertise there as well, that people can get access to without data, right? So we try to partner up with the right, your Harambes as well, to not just say we are operating in isolation, but to approach the issues that are industry issues together. I think that has made a difference as well.
Yeah, someone here suggesting that maybe you can take on retired skilled people to assist with mentoring and company visits as part of monitoring, he says, or just imparting skills. And I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea. What we are very big on as well when we do our recruitments, and we go into the areas like Soweto, we go into the areas like Alex, we go into the areas like Eldos as well. We do a lot of, for the caller that was mentioning the colored area, we do a lot of work over there with the counselors, right? Because that's one of the ways to ensure that the right people from the community get the opportunities. What we are very big on is teaching the misconceptions about learnerships, because there's a lot of misconceptions about learnerships. Guys, it is for free.
Yes.
If anybody says you need to bring this and that, that is we are against that, and we are big within the industry on going to teach people in the communities to say it's for free. You just need to fit the criteria. And when you fit the criteria, because there's a huge influx in the country of applications, it does take some time. So we would just need you to be just a bit more patient until you are then called back. And ensure that your cell number is working. Believe it or not, a lot of people do sign up. We try to reach them and the number is now changed, or they didn't enter the right email address, So we are very big on teaching to ensure that you are reachable.
Linda, I want to keep you in studio just for a little longer.
We are the perfect travel companion.
702 Summer.
Let's walk the talk.
Hi guys. I was taking a while ago. I was doing the hospitality course, and then I upgraded within the industry. I took the skills development programs, and then now I'm a professional chef. But what I see now within my space is that these kids that are coming in, they don't have the passion for whatever they applied for. They are just in for the stipend. So I'm not sure if the learnerships are really helping, because most of them drop out. They don't finish the courses, So yeah, guys, Tulane from Zola. Ciao.
Hi, Kgomotso, and your guest. Actually, your guest is not answering the question. The question is about the employers who are not absorbing the trainees. So as a result, the trainees keeps on, looking for more opportunities to continue doing the same trainings at different companies because they're sitting at home, not employed after the training period has expired. So the question is, what does this organization that he represents do to make sure that the companies are not exploiting these unemployed youth, because they're getting cheap labor, but they use them and then they just throw them away without give them real opportunities of being employed. I have a sister who's been going through the same process. So what does the organization do, and what is the responsibility of the government? Thank you, Uspamandla at Randpark Ridge.
Thank you, Spamandla, and thank you for your voice notes. This is the Clement Manyathela Show, and we are speaking about learnerships. This is for the World of Work feature. We speak about learnerships as an option post-Matric, and my guest is Lindokuhle Ndlovu, who's Marketing Officer at the Skills Development Corporation. Linda, do you want to address that last voice note?
Sure. Thank you so much to the caller for actually raising that up, right? So as accredited training providers, we also have a board, which is QCTO, the Quality Council for Trades and Occupation, that we answer to. So, unfortunately, when it comes to advising the clients that we assist, when it comes to their getting their points in the generic scorecard, we also cannot we can suggest, right, that they can absorb the learners, right? But we cannot we can't force them to actually absorb the learners. But we go beyond as SDC, because we've had long-term clients, right, that we've helped over the years, to say, okay, you guys have done this much this year. Please note that, it would be even better if you do take on learners. And I want to also stress this as well.
Yeah.
In the vetting process, when we do find the learners, right, to answer the other caller's concern about whether they are doing the courses that they want to do, because that's an important point, right? We do a vetting to find out who Samgelo, I'm making an example, who Samgelo is. Do they even like IT? Because you get more of a success rate in the learnerships and completion when you give the learner and get them to do a program that at least they like. As opposed to if as a learner, I've never even touched the computer, and now I'm being thrown in the deep to do a course, IT. Then the learners will then likely not come to class and all of that. And how we've combated that and really made a success out of that is to make sure that people are studying what they like. And we'll get better results out of them.
All right, let's take some of your calls. Mandla, you're in Alex, and you feel that learnership should be scrapped. Good morning.
Yeah, morning, Jay. I strongly feel like that. Like, if listening to Mr. Ndlovu.
Yeah.
With respect, Mr. Ndlovu, I think learnership, this model is actually meant to be a part of employment of people like Mr. Ndlovu, to keep the Mr. Ndlovu employed. Why am I saying that, Mr. Ndlovu mentioned something or said that there are instances whereby learners will be doing multiple learnership. It's like when a learner will leave this learnership, go into the next one, like doing multiple of them.
Yeah.
So surely to me, that should have been a point to the Mr. Ndlovu type of saying what causes that. You understand? So as far as I'm concerned, I think this learnership, they should actually also be regulated in terms of saying, okay, fine, you've got this learnership. Right. After producing, say, maybe 30 students, the learnership and the Mr. Ndlovu type, they cease to operate up until all those students are placed. And they are monitored there, they are placed. Then when they are all placed, then is when there's another intake. Instead of having intake after intake, intake after intake. I can make an example, my dear. Like, look at what's happening to our matriculants now. Yeah. Our matriculants will pass. Pass, go and fill the streets. You understand? The next matriculants the following year pass, go and fill the streets. It's like stack and stack and stack. So I think this leadership, what they're doing is like they're stacking after stacking after stacking after stacking. So as a result, that's why I personally feel that they are useless. You know what I'm saying? Instead, what it does good for your Mr. Ndlovu type, because of whether they are forever employed. And people that should be benefiting, they aren't. And it looks like they're not inventive, that they don't even look into this model, that why is this thing doing this and this and this? Yeah. What is that we can do, change this and this and this? Hence, I feel like, it's just, even the people are running them, they are equally, I'm sorry to say this with respect, they're equally useless because of they are not inventive, they are not creative, they can't see beyond. It's just their dude. With respect, Mr. Ndlovu, it's just their dude, if you ask me.
I hear your concern, and we actually come across a lot of similar concerns across when we go to different communities. But what we normally say is, I think it's good for giants like us in the industry to hear this, because then it can motivate what we are trying to do with QCTO. For example, now QCTO, we've come into a new era where QCTO is very, very good.
What's QCTO?
So the Quality Council for Trades and Occupation. Okay. So they regulate everybody, the seaters and so on. So you've got your different seaters, your manufacturing, you've got your hospitality as well. But what this has done is that it's brought in a bigger conversation, and we as SDC are in front of that conversation. For example, learnerships are now going to have exams.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have exams before. It was just about assignments and doing your logbook, right? Now, they've recognized all of these issues, and they've said, you know what, let's change the whole industry for the better, right? To ensure that...
Mr. Ndlovu, if I may interrupt you, sir, with respect,
yes,
leadership are now going to have exams. What good does that bring? It still doesn't change this model. The point is, Mr. Ndlovu, the problem is people go into leaderships, then they come and idle. That's the problem. The problem is not whether learnerships have exams or they don't have exams. You see, Mr. Ndlovu, this is the problem that I have. People that are always throwing stones at wrong places, forever throwing stones at wrong places, forever barking at the wrong tree. That's the problem that we have. You can have exams or not. They can have exams and qualify, go through learnership. They will still come and stack. Another lot come. My problem is stacking and stacking and stacking.
I can hear your frustration, and it's understandable, especially with the unemployment crisis that we currently have, and more young people being forced to sit at home. I think you make a very good point, though, Manda, when you speak about regulation, because I think that might be the answer to the problem. Where
that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm saying, even the Mr. Ndlovu type, with their learnership program, immediately they produce students, they must cease to operate. Make sure that those students are placed before they take another lot. Instead of every 6 months or every year, they keep on taking the lot. And students are forever sticking on the streets are forever filled. You understand? So that's why some other students here are using this as an employment. Because of, he goes through the learnership, go back to the streets. Immediately it is out of the learnership, it goes back to the streets. So chances are, at least at the learnership, I was getting bread. Why not? Let me go back there. So to them, it looks like they're even intending to regulate those students. You understand? Of saying if you've been through a learnership, then you can't be going to another learnership. Instead of regulating themselves, they want to regulate the students.
Mandla, yes.
Marching on a wrong street forever.
I am going to have to let you go there. And thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your contribution. I suppose, Lindo, the frustration is there are so many young people who are being, it seems, exploited by these employers who are taken in. They do the work there in the learner capacity, as the previous guy had said, and then they leave and they are left to just find something to do. Yes, and then they end up in the cycle of being to learnership. And I'm not sure that that's a problem with the learnerships themselves. I think the learnerships are giving people opportunities, which is great, but the system seems to be broken.
I would say that your answer's in the right direction. What we can do, which is what we do, right, with learnerships, is that we also teach the young people while they're in the learnerships how to build up their CV, how to actually look for jobs, and how to even execute interviews. Because another thing that we might not be mentioning here is, remember, when a learner is coming from an area like where I grew up in Hammersdale in Durban, where education is not your private school education, right? Illiteracy can become a problem. So those are the other things that I must say that we are very big on doing, on teaching young people. How do you create your CV? How do you treat an interview when you are being called for an interview, right? In order for the success rate to start happening. But there are numbers of those that get employed that the learnership, that have been helped by the learnership. So I understand the caller's frustration. I think across the board with unemployment, a lot of people are frustrated with why it is that you would do a learnership and you have to do another one again. But remember, even for Abantu who went to university, even at work, you still need to do refreshers and do certificates.
Let's go to the lines. I see Mbulali in Soshanguve has been holding for a while. Thank you so much for your patience. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call. Mbulali here, Soshanguve. My son is 26 years old. He failed Matric. He's doing bad in maths. So he's been at home ever since. Is there any help for him?
That's the question for you, yeah?
There is help for your son. So STC is one of the accredited training providers, but there's a number of other accredited training providers. But with us, you can reach through to our campus, where your son can actually get onto our database. We can't say, Uguti, you're going to get a learnership if you are not on our database, because when a client comes through to us and says, hey, we want to do, we're needing 50 learners, African males, we then reach through to our database, our pot, where we would then pull out your son's name, who would have done their interview and who would have already done the assessment. So there are opportunities.
Okay. Where are you situated?
We are in 24 Achter Road in Porsdorf in Sandton.
24, what road?
You can spell that out.
24 ACHTER. Or alternatively, you can go onto our website and give us a call. It is www.sdcorp.co.za. And we are right there on Google if you search the Skills Development Corporation.
Yeah, but I think I'd like to encourage Mbulali, and me as someone who used to do this a lot, I'd encourage your son to go.
To go there.
Go to the place, take it seriously, let him, dedicate time to it, because it's something that he wants to see work for him. Okay.
Alternatively, I can give out the cell number as well, the telephone number, which is 010-900-3115. I'll repeat it again. It's 010-900-3115.
Okay.
All right. All the best.
Thank you very much.
All right. And I suppose, that's what you are there for those people that feel like there's no longer any hope. They're despondent, they don't know what to do next.
Fear not, guys. Fear not.
All right. I think we should take a quick break. When we come back, we're taking more of your voice notes.
702 Summer lives online
on the Prime Media Plus app.
Good morning. In terms of these learnerships, they are a very valuable route of education. However, employment, once you've completed the learnership, depends entirely on a growing economy. And for as long as our economy is not growing and jobs are not being created by businesses starting up, you are never going to place all those completing the learnerships. And that is the part of this whole situation that is not being addressed. Thank you. This is Leslie.
Thank you so much for your voice note, Leslie. We're speaking about learnerships as an option post-Matric, and my guest in studio is Lindokuhle Ndlovu, who's the marketing officer of the Skills Development Corporation. I suppose, Leslie, I think she summed it up really nicely. The fact that the learnerships are one part of the system, but they are dependent on other parts for it to be a success, right?
Absolutely. She said it so well. It's overall, it's skills development, right? Overall, even it starts with the learnership, but there's also apprenticeships. There's also internships. There's a variety of different ways in which the government has, actually stood up and put regulations in place for this whole situation to get better.
Yeah.
So I think it's very wise to look at it from that angle, is that this is just one part of the learnerships. But when it comes to how impactful it is, I would say that maybe it's because I work with the company. I'm at the company and I go to the remote areas to find kids that would have never gotten an opportunity to get a stipend, or employment, by the way. Some of the kids are illiterate, and let me tell you, the moment they finish their 12-month learnership, we do see the difference. And remember, the less privileged and the persons living with disability, they need the attention. And I think via learnerships, we are doing a stunning job at that.
I want you to address the race question, because there was the question around how it's very race-based.
Right. So in 1994, obviously the government, the South African government, did put in place laws and regulations that Triple BEE would then cater for your Indian people, right? Your African people, more so, as well as your colored people as well. And there are different challenges when it comes to, for example, reaching the Indian community, for example, right? As opposed to reaching the African community. Because when we do go to the communities, there's different ways to actually get the kids that are at home, whether physically challenged or whether living with disability or not, because of societal issues. So we just need to be aware that that's also taking place. For example, in the colored areas like Eldos, we are one of the companies that don't care whether there's shootings or not. But we find the right ways. We speak to the police station, we speak to the councillor within the community to say, hey, on this date we'll be there. And we do go there. And hundreds of young unemployed coloreds are now employable.
So are you saying then that you in terms of your Triple BEE compliance, you prioritize Black or African, colored and Indian people first, and then you prioritize other racial groups?
Well,
or how does it work? So
that is the mandate. The mandate is African, colored and Indian.
So previously disadvantaged.
Previously disadvantaged,
okay,
yes. So it's by law. So when a company is asking us to assist them within their points, we make sure that we have the right candidates available.
Okay, but you have candidates of all races that come
We
and sign
have
up.
candidates of all races. In fact, we have a pool with lots of colored young people.
Okay, I think that's
to answer the
lady. Yes,
the lady's
yes,
question,
yes. Okay, and I suppose if someone is listening out there and they are weighing their options, what type of mindset should a person who wants this learnership journey for them to succeed have?
I love that question. Somebody who's going to show up every day when needed, somebody who's going to budget fairly well their stipend to ensure that they get to in our campus, but also as well to ensure that they also get to the place where you get your practical, training. That's where you take your logbook as a learner, and you would then have a manager within a company that we find for you where you are doing your workplace experience, who also might give you, provided you are on time, but we teach you all these things, provided you're a good steward and you just have the willingness to learn and finish whatever you start, right? Where they can also give you a top up. It's an option for the manager to say, you know what, I've had this young man in my building and they're doing so well. I want to invest in them. There's also an option of a top up. So it's all about what you do with the opportunity you are given in your hand. And we need more young people who want to finish the leadership, young people who want to get employed afterwards, and also want to begin with their own businesses.
All right. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for your time and your insights, Lindokuhle Ndlovu, Marketing Officer at the Skills Development Corporation. Very quickly, just remind us again where they can find you.
Right. So you can find us on our website, which is SDC Corp. You can just type or search us on Google as well. SDC, the Skills Development Corporation. Or alternatively, search us on Facebook as the Skills Development Corporation. Or you can give us a call on 010 900 3115. And we are on 24 Achter Road in Sandton in Polshof. See you then.
All right. Lindokuhle Ndlovu, thank you so much for your time.